Welcome to the France 24 Observers, the show that's based on our network of ordinary people who are our eyes and ears around the world. This week we begin in Ivory Coast, West Africa. Just before Easter there was a wave of strikes in the country's universities. Students were angry over late payments and a lack of teaching materials. The unrest quickly spread to high schools and even junior high schools, like the one attended by our observer Christelle. She filmed what happened.
There was a group of students from other schools in the Ibobo district. They came to our school and told us to get out. There were two teachers with them. They said there was no way we were going to have school if they had decided not to. That's how it all started. They started throwing stones. In the video, you can hear me yelling because what was happening was really shocking. People used anything they could get their hands on. Parasols, stones, whatever they could grab. They picked it up and threw it. Most of them were young, between 12 and 18 years old. There's been a rise in university fees recently. That's what the demonstrations were about. The universities went on strike first. Then they were followed by high schools and grade schools. The same organisers went from high school to high school, whipping up support for a strike. There were fights wherever they went.
Now to Mexico, to a remote teaching college in Guerrero State that has become famous around the world. That is because last September, 43 of its students were rounded up by police and disappeared. 6 months later, its students are still being harassed by the authorities. That's not surprising, says our observer, who's a former student, given the school's activist past.
In this video, the police are clearly acting aggressively towards the students. You see them beating one of the kids and using stones to break the windows of their bus. That's why the kids ran away. They didn't want to get abused. Since the disappearance of their 43 comrades, the students of the Ayotzinapa Rural Teachers College are still facing the same kind of violence and repression from the local authorities. This kind of persecution isn't new. The rural colleges are the last bastion of the Mexican Revolution. They were created in the 1920s, part of an effort to ensure public, non-religious education for all. Today, the rural colleges are the only institutions in Mexico where young people can live and get a higher education, all for free. There are 16 rural colleges in Mexico, but the one in Ayotzinapa has the highest profile. It's produced several leading figures and entire generations of teachers who are critical of the establishment. The schools are a symbol of social struggle in Guerrero State and across the country. That's why the local authorities are so hostile. Their intention is clear. They want to see public education disappear and shut down the Ayotzinapa College forever.
And now for some more reports and images sent in by our observers. Our first stop is Bujumbura, the capital of Burundi in Central Africa. This is not a traffic jam, but a protest by residents of the city who want their president to respect the constitution. President Pierre Nkurunziza is planning to seek a third term next month, although the country's charter limits him to just 2 terms in office. Now to Chile, the normally arid north has been deluged by mud since a storm hit last month, with 30,000 people left homeless. Immigrants from Colombia have decided to chip in, including our observer Luis Duque Lopez. They've gotten together to clear the mud, working hard and proudly wearing their country's football jerseys, a way of showing that immigrants aren't always a drain on a country's economy and can contribute too. Finally today, the death of a crocodile. The creature had been spotted in a lagoon near the city of Ahome. The cops responded by emptying their automatic weapons into it, even though it was already caught in a net. The men look like they're having a high old time, but they're not laughing now. The crocodile turned out to be from a protected species, and they're facing up to 9 years in prison. Their director has already resigned. That's it for this week. As always, you can find more reports from our observers on our website, on our Facebook and Twitter pages, and on our apps for mobiles. I'll see you next time.